What's up, Big Blue Nation? This is Tyler Thompson and Stephen Peake, our videographer. We are here in London at the O2, where Kentucky just got a win they massively needed. They beat Michigan 73-69, and we were here for all of it. But first of all, before we talk about the game, I'm usually not on this YouTube channel, and he's the one running the camera, so hi.
Yeah, first time doing the rapid reaction. I've been behind the camera for lots of them already.
Right.
But this is a new experience.
I'm usually like on the computer typing. I'm not usually on the camera or, even on the radio. So for many of you, this may be your first time seeing me. So what's up? We're in London. It's really cool. Stephen, you had a front row seat for today's action. What did it feel like to watch the Cats get a win they really, really needed?
Yeah, and that's talking with fans throughout the last couple of days. It's just been a much needed win. Needed win for the fan base to get everybody kind of back into basketball now. I mean, it feels like since the St. Peter's loss, this was like the first time the basketball fans had a chance to celebrate. So that was nice. I thought that Kentucky played with energy, especially in the second half. The bench was into it, and I really thought the crowd was exceptional.
Yeah.
All things considered. I mean, it was basically a home game for Kentucky. What did they announce?
So the announced attendance, and I think this was a little generous, was 8,242. I'd say 8,000 of those were Kentucky fans, although the Michigan fans that were here were really loud. But I've got to give it to Big Blue Nation.
Yeah.
They were so loud. I hope you all could hear them on the TV. I mean, throughout pretty much the whole game, but especially the second half, go Big Blue chants left and right. They did Cats chants. Oscar Tshibwe in the postgame said that he felt like they were at home celebrating the win. So I was really impressed. And we've been, like he said, we've been meeting fans all day that have come from all over, not from the U.S. and Kentucky, but the world.
Yes, I talked to people who were from Spain, from Germany, and of course from right here in England. And I was amazed by their not just their basketball knowledge, their knowledge of Kentucky basketball history. I mean, these are people. I talked to one guy who said he'd been a fan since 1996. This is his first time, probably his only time he'd ever get to see them in person. So I just think stuff like that is just really cool. And there was, with it being the same time as that England game, you wondered what the crowd would be like. I did see a lot of people here wearing their English crest jerseys and stuff. So they were sacrificing not watching that game to be able to watch Kentucky. Talked with one couple who his wife is a big Kentucky fan. They live in London, and he's obviously an English football fan and wanted to see the game, but he was here. So I just thought overall just a great event. Yeah,
absolutely. And as for the game itself, the first half was a little scary. And if we're being honest with ourselves, part of the second half was a little scary. But Michigan came back. I think Kentucky was up by 1 at halftime. Michigan came back and they took the lead with about 12 minutes left, but Kentucky held on, thanks to, I think, really strong play by Jacob Toppin, who was much more aggressive in the second half. Sahvir Wheeler had some really more of those random clutch shots that he makes. Every time he hits or he makes those, it's like, no, yes. And he had a huge one today. And then, of course, Wallace.
Yeah.
Star of the game. He won MVP. Let's see.
He's 4 for 4 from 3. Is that right?
Yeah.
And that last one was huge. Pushing that lead, getting it up to 5. He said in the post game that if he doesn't take that shot, he considers himself he would say he's a selfish player. Yeah. And Kentucky needed that. Wallace played great. I think he played almost the whole game. Would he play 36 minutes, something like that?
He played 31 minutes.
31 minutes. Yeah. And Sahvir Wheeler played pretty much the whole game also. So I know a lot of fans we talked to wanted to see Wallace take a little bit more of a role at point guard, but his ability to shoot the ball, if you can get production out of a Wallace like that, especially behind the arc, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And Calipari was saying that he challenged Kaysen at halftime. He's like, I need you to step up. I need you to step up and make these shots. The team needs you. And he really did. And I think if you're a Kentucky fan, that's really promising because, we keep hearing how great Kaysen is, and he and Chris Livingston came in, 5-star freshmen. Mm-hmm. But for this team to really be the team we think they can be, it's got to be because of strong play from Kaysen.
Yeah, and another thing I liked out of the stat sheet was all 5 starters in double figures. This is a team that I think there's a lot of options, a lot of players who can score. CJ Fredrick only took 3 shots today, so that was, it's a tough game for him, not being able to get a lot of shots off, and I don't know how many minutes he ended up playing, but I know that defensively, I just don't think he could fit into the rotation. He did hit a big 3. I think I couldn't see it. I was actually shooting Calipari. It's the first time I've ever seen Calipari react like the way he did. I mean, he threw both both of his hands up and gave out a yes, like that. I've never seen him do that in the middle of the game. What was frustrating was late in the game, Kentucky had an 8-point lead. They got cut down to 2. Then they were able to push that lead back up to 6, and again it got cut to 2. Lots of missed free throws and turnovers late.
That's going to be a big topic, I think, in the next couple of weeks in practice, Cal said. And if you're wondering, I know there's been some frustration with Sahvir Wheeler. Cal said the reason that he had to keep Sahvir in is because he makes his free throws. So.
Was he did he miss 4? I think he missed. He missed twice as many as he made, I think. 2 of 6 from the line. The other thing, too, is Kentucky kept missing front end of the bonus. And, especially at the end, I think Case and Wallace even missed a couple late that it was, the game was over with at that point. But still just frustrating.
But it's December.
Yeah,
we're going to be happy with a big win because, my God, did they need it.
Yeah.
Also, just some quick hitters. I thought Antonio Reeves played well in the first half. He kind of dropped off a little in the second. Some surprising minutes from Ugonna Onyenso. I did not see that coming.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking as we did this, I was like, we got to talk about Ugo. I mean, how about Juwan Howard? I think when Sahvir got hurt, Juwan Howard got to pick who he wanted to shoot. He picks Ugo, and Ugo steps up and knocks them both down.
He nailed him.
That was great. I love that kid. He's a great kid. I thought even late, I love Lance Ware also. Kind of thought maybe Ugo should have been in there. I'm not one to second guess.
He's taking his minutes.
Yeah. And I think Lance gave up a layup that allowed them to cut it to 2. So again. That's a great performance out of Ugo. I know he had another putback also. I think in the first half.
He had a couple blocks, I think. Yeah. It was awesome. I think also just, some encouraging stuff from Oscar Tshibwe. He battled foul trouble. He still finished with a double-double. After the game, Cal said that Oscar is still knocking off rust because, we've heard it once, we've heard a million times from him. He didn't practice with the team for 4 weeks, Steve. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I've heard Cal say that a few times.
I was going to say it also feels like it's been 8 weeks since that actually happened. But
it's been a little bit, yeah. And they have had their whole team together to practice for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Oscar did, miss a couple shots, but again, what was his final stat line? 14 and 13, something.
Yeah, I mean, he finished with all of that in, 27 minutes. He had 13 points, 14 rebounds. Of course, he battled the foul trouble. Looking at the stat sheet, you got to like how many Kentucky players finished in the plus-minus efficiency. It felt like, they've been tinkering with lineups off and on, but it finally feels like they found one that worked there in the second half.
Pilgrim has been talking about on Sources Say is one thing fans have been talking about, the rotation. It just doesn't feel like they've been able to click. Doesn't feel like there's been able to be any consistency. But like you said, when that happened with CJ Fredrick not really playing a whole lot, and I don't know how he doesn't see the floor. You're going to need somebody who, like CJ, is going to be able to hit from the outside, but he's got to be able to play defense too. And we saw from the Michigan State game, he got beat on the play that tied the game. So, but he's going to have big games. Of course, we've seen him already do that, and he's going to do it against one of these big teams eventually. So.
Well, and also we talked about this a little bit earlier, but Jacob Toppin, how great was it to see him come and play aggressive in when Kentucky needed him down the stretch?
Yeah, I really think he could be one of Kentucky's go-to guys. When you talk about do you need a shot at the end of the game, Jacob's one of those guys who can elevate over. He can get a shot off anytime he wants, it feels like. I mean, his ability to elevate and get that shot off, I think he could be that guy. Those shots have not been going down for him. I know he's spending the most time in the gym taking jump shots.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see a few of those go in. He got called for, I think, a push-off late in the game that Cal wanted him to, it was questionable. I think Cal wanted him to take that shot, though, at the top of the key.
Yeah.
And I hope that, as he continues to gain confidence, that he's not, second guessing. And I think he wanted to go around the guy and try to get an easier shot. So I'm not saying that he doesn't have the confidence to shoot. He does. I think he took a lot of shots.
Yeah.
But you would like to see him, have enough confidence in his jumper that he's catch and shoot. And I really think he could be the go-to guy down the stretch later on in the season.
Well, and Cal was so happy with him. So Kaysen won the MVP award from Hoop Hall for this event, but Jacob won the most impactful belt. That belt that they're giving to, the player that they thought had the biggest difference in the game. So that's a huge, huge vote of confidence for him.
Yeah, that's one thing that we had. I'm not going to go and try to read his mind and say that he's been having confidence issues or anything like that. He may not have, but I know that when we've talked to him in the post games several times, even when it looks like his numbers were decent, he's still kind of down on himself a little bit. And that might just be too. He continues to say, I'm going in and shooting I'm shooting all the time. I'm working on my shot all the time, and it's just frustrating the shots aren't going in. So yeah, I mean, most impactful player. Stats don't lie.
So the road does get tougher from here. You know, what is it, in 2 weeks? Kentucky plays a little less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Kentucky plays UCLA in New York. The next big test. I thought Oscar had a great quote. You know, he was talking about the Go Big Blue chants that were in the arena, and he said, I hope this win kind of gives fans a little bit of hope and just lets them know that this team is fighting and that we're good. So I don't know if this win will kind of soothe fans too much, but I certainly feel better.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, the thing is, if you would have left London with a loss, first of all, that's a long trip back home.
It's a long way to go.
Yeah, it's a long way to go. We interviewed somebody yesterday that said, we've traveled all the way to London, they better show up.
Yeah.
I seconded that feeling, and they did. I thought that I think Oscar's right. One thing about this team that I have talked with people about is that I really think this team has all the pieces to be one of the top 4 teams come March, and still have the potential of getting one of those top seeds. Just they haven't looked like it in these big games.
Right.
And even today, there was still lots of room for improvement, but just getting a win, you start to feel that pressure. You look at what North Carolina's going through.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting beat by Virginia Tech, but they may have already lost that game by the time you see this. So they're really struggling. So that was just big to get out of here with the win and carry that over into the next week and into that UCLA game in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, the ball is rolling, and the lights are about to go out on us here at the O2, so we better wrap this up. But we've got a ton of more content coming. Like Steven said, we've been talking to fans all week, and he's got a ton of great interviews. We were at a pregame gathering where it was just the excitement was in the air. People were really excited, and now we get to go home with a win. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to the KSR YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. What do the kids say? Smash that
subscribe button.
Yeah,
yes,
I feel really old saying that, by the way. That's a wrap for our coverage here in London, and thank you guys for watching, and go Cats.